Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, this afternoon, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is actually in good standing, and the OSP, as well as the SP himself, can heave a sign of relief because President John Dramani Mahama has stepped in, requesting the withdrawal of a private member's bill that sought to repeal that office and scrap it entirely. The Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, and Chief Whip, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, had drafted the bill aimed at abolishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But in a statement issued moments ago, the President requested that it be withdrawn while challenging the OSP to intensify its work to rebuild public trust. Let's bring you details of that statement. It's coming up on your screens right now from the Presidency, directed at members of Parliament. It reads that President John Dramani Mahama has requested the Majority Leader and Majority Chief Whip in Parliament to withdraw the private member's bill tabled for the repeal of the Act establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The President's request follows his public expression of support for the strengthening of the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a vital cog in the fight against corruption at a meeting with the Peace Council yesterday. The President also reiterates his call on the Office of the Special Prosecutor to do more to boost public confidence in its work and frontally tackle corruption in line with the objectives informing the establishment of the office. Well, let me take you now to Parliament. My colleague James Aveji is on standby because we want to find out, in the President's letter, he says the bill has been tabled. Is that the case, James Aveji? Has this draft bill been officially laid on the floor of Parliament? James,
well, that is the indication we had yesterday.
Okay.
I trust you can hear me now.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
That's the indication we had yesterday. In fact,
okay.
It was not we as of yesterday when we had they have drafted this private members bill in order to support the unprecedented bipartisan support for the call for the scrapping of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which we saw last week. If you recall, on the floor, pushed by the Majority Whip, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, following the spectacle that unfolded between the OSP as well as lawyer Martin Kpandai, where he argued that the office as it stands doesn't seem to be serving the purposes for which it was created, and that they believe that office must be dissolved. His position was supported by the minority as well. You recall the argument made by Honorable Kudjo Ofonkuma, MP for Ofuasi Ayariga, who also indicated that, in fact, this is a call they have been making over time, especially when you look at the work of the OSP in recent times, where they said government is using the OSP to terrorize its appointees or appointees of the former government. And so it looks like this is not the position. This is not a position that is being pushed by only leadership of Parliament, but the indication we get is that they have the buy-in of their membership as well. We are yet to see any member of Parliament, even both on the opposition or the government, criticize this particular move by their leaders. And so we were expecting that this bill will come to the floor only for us to get this directive from the Presidency. Now, on the floor, they are passing a number of allocations to the various government ministries, agencies, departments. And during the argument over the allocation to the parliamentary services, where they indicated that the budget of 4.6 billion Ghana cedis has been slashed to some 1.6 billion Ghana cedis to Parliament, and how that undermines the functions of Parliament, the first deputy majority whip, Habib Idrisu, went on to make the point that it is because of some of these things that the presidency, according to him, is having undue influence over Parliament, where he has written a letter directly to the majority leader as well as the deputy majority whip, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, instructing them to halt the processes of this private members' bill. And so as far as the minority is concerned, this is a direct influence of the executive on the legislature, which breaches the Constitution, the separation of powers as indicated in the Constitution. It is unclear what steps they will be taking in the face of this letter from the president, but this is the positions they've been arguing. We're looking forward to hearing from the majority themselves, especially the leadership, on whether or not they will be obeying or respecting this president directive and what actions they would also be taking to reverse this particular private members bill. And so, Fosti, what has come up now is the position of the minority against this letter from the president.
And for you, really, I'm sure you've been doing your diggings. What are the rumors in Parliament, especially among the majority members? This official letter from the presidency, do they see it as interference with their work?
Well, Fosti, it's not a position that is yet articulated by any member of Parliament except Habib Idrisu. And so we'll not be finding out from them. But when you speak to some of the MPs behind the scene, before today's letter, it is something the repealing of the OSP's Act to scrap the office is something both parties and both sides of the House's MPs are for, and the private members bill is what they've all been looking forward to expedite, to execute this action. And so it will be clear that, I mean, most of them will not be happy with this, but what would be more interesting is the side of the majority who have taken this move. And so I'm sure by close of day, we should be getting them on record to tell us what their positions are on this fresh directive from the presidency to the leadership of the majority in Parliament.
And you also mentioned that currently on the floor, they're considering different allocations. What exactly have they approved so far, and what concerns have been raised?
So far, they've made the approval to the parliamentary service of 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. Even though they've been complaining that this is not sufficient, the Deputy Finance Minister, Honorable Thomas Ampim-Nyaku, indicates that, in fact, he is also a member of Parliament, and he has experienced firsthand the challenges in Parliament with the malfunctioning of equipment, including the lift, as well as air conditioning in the MP's offices, as well as other offices in Parliament. And these are issues that needed some financial assistance to address, promising that in the midterm budget or the next year's budget, they should expect some more allocations to address these challenges. There have also been approvals to other agencies as well. And so that's what is happening now. Currently, as we speak, the House is doing a second reading of the Road Traffic Act regulation, which is now under amendment to allow for the legalization of Okada or motorcycles used for businesses. And so that's currently what is happening on the floor. After this second reading, they will go to the consideration stage and hopefully do a third reading, and for the approval of that particular Road Traffic Regulations Act, which will be amended, and Okada usage should be legalized in Ghana, as the NDC has promised in their manifesto, Faustina.
And then just before I let you go, another key concern that have come up is the EC officially declaring a date for the rerun of the Kpandai election. What's the turnout of the minority members in Parliament today? I'm sure you've been engaging them.
Well, for turnout, I mean, both sides have the numbers to execute business. And so as far as turnout is concerned, that is what it will be. But on their position on the EC, the minority has in the last few days indicated that they are against that declaration. They want it reversed. Now the EC has gone ahead to announce the date for that. We've been trying to hear from some of them off record, would tell you that it is now time for the party to intensify the cases in court, as they also do everything possible to store the hands of the EC. In fact, the counsel to the minority, John Dako, indicates that they would employ every legal avenue in order to lay injunction on this move by the EC to announce a date on this. It is unclear when they will be going to court to get that injunction, but we believe that between today and tomorrow, if what he says is anything to go by, the NPP or the minority should be hitting the court in order to secure an injunction on that Kpandai rerun, which the EC has set the 30th of December for. So that's what the position of the minority is, that they would make sure they get an injunction on that particular rerun as announced by the EC. For the majority, it is a good day for them. This is what they've been asking for, and so the EC has their full support in executing that rerun come the 30th of December 2025, which may give Parliament a fresh Kpandai, a member of Parliament from either the NDC or the APC's candidate, or Matthew Nyindam may get the endorsement of majority of the over 66,000 constituents or voters in the Kpandai constituency. So, as expected, both sides are split on this issue. For the side of the minority, we're waiting, or the NPP, we're waiting on when they will hit court to get that injunction on the announced EC date.
Thank you so much, James Aveji. We'll be back at you shortly just to get more reactions to this. But it's a good time now to bring in Felix Kwakye Ofosu, his spokesperson for government. We've just been looking at this directive from the presidency. I'm wondering what prompted the president to issue this statement in the first place.
Well, I think that the reasons are stated in the press statement. The president has, on more than one occasion, expressed and affirmed his belief in the work of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The president believes that it is one of the key pillars in the fight against corruption, and therefore every effort must be made to enhance their work and ensure that that office succeeds, irrespective of what opinion you may have about the performance of a particular special prosecutor at any point in time. And indeed, only yesterday, the president met the Peace Council, and as part of his remarks, he indicated that he disagreed with calls for the scrapping of the Office of the Special Prosecutor because of perceptions about slow pace of work or inaction, and that he believes that more time and resources should be given to the Special Prosecutor's Office to conduct its work. No sooner had the president said that than word emerged that the majority leader and the majority chief whip had co-sponsored a private member's bill in Parliament to essentially scrap the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, the president believes that it would be premature to take such a step, and therefore he has requested them to withdraw the bill, even as efforts are made to help the Special Prosecutor achieve the objectives for which that office was set up in the first place.
Premature, you say, but the removal of that act that granted the OSP the powers it has is one issue that both the minority and the majority agree on, especially concerns that his office is not delivering on its mandate. How do you respond to that then? Well,
that majority and minority members of Parliament believe in a particular course of action. There's no reason why the president should also believe in it. If the president has a different opinion, I'm sure that he is entitled to express it, and he has done so. The president believes that merely saying that the special prosecutor has not been able to prosecute this number of people or that number of people, and has not made this much recovery or that much stuff, is not a sufficient reason to scrap the office. Whatever that is stated against better or good performance can be assessed, addressed, because it is imperative that the objective that informed the establishment of that office, which is to have an independent outcome that is able to fight corruption frontally, is preserved. It's a noble objective which will help in the overall fight against corruption, even as they complement the efforts of other state institutions like the Attorney General's Office, the SHRAT, YOCO, and other such bodies to help combat corruption.
Some have argued that when it comes to separation of powers, the executive should not interfere with the issues of the legislature. With this directive, is that not the case, that the executive is interfering?
The president has not issued a directive. The president has made a request. It is true that the principle of separation of powers ought to be respected. The president respects that. But these are members of his party, the National Democratic Congress. And on almost all the issues, we tend to have agreement. We tend to have a middle ground, a common ground, and consensus. So there's nothing wrong with engaging in further consultation to arrive at a common position on a particular matter that may be vexed. And that is exactly what has happened. It does not mean that the president will get up and direct or dictate to Parliament what it should or should not do.
So it's a request, you say, but you're a member of Parliament and your leadership is pushing this. Where would you stand, especially because you have a daunting task? You're spokesperson for the executive, but yet you're a member of Parliament, hence you have to bow to leadership of Parliament.
No, I from the very onset, have been quite skeptical about the functional necessity or relevance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Indeed, my records will show that in the period when the matter first came up, I expressed my reservations. I expressed doubts about its necessity. I also have my doubts about the work that has been done so far. But it does not mean that the president, who is the head of government and leader of this nation, cannot hold a contrary opinion. And if he holds a contrary opinion and he advances and canvasses arguments that are sound, as he has done in the present circumstance, and there are other actors within the governance space, in this instance, Parliament, who are on the verge of taking a certain action, which the president believes may not augur well for the overall fight against corruption. There's nothing wrong with reaching out and dialogue and finding an amicable resolution, which inures to the benefit of the people of Ghana. And that is exactly what has happened.
And now, Felix, stay with me. I want you to listen to a member of Parliament, Habib Idris, just reacting to this, and I'll come and get your reactions shortly. Please watch this.
When the majority chief whip and the majority leader file or intend to file a private member's bill, the president is telling them to reduce it. Why? Their oversight, their rule as members of Parliament. Because of what? To withdraw. We have the official letter from the presidency to the members of Parliament. But he has instructed that you should withdraw it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the executive have no authority to dictate what happened in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Please continue.
Thank you. Mr.
I will appropriately give you the floor.
Mr. Speaker, when you go into our offices, it is very sad that many members in our offices, our air conditions are not working. When you have a visitor, you have to look for another member office where the air condition is working to be able to entertain that visitor.
So we've just heard from Habib raise concerns about the conditions of service. And here we have an office being paid to do the job of fighting corruption, yet the people are concerned they're failing to deliver on their mandate. Felix, I'd like to get your reaction to that.
Well, the MPP, they blow hot and cold. There are members of the MPP who say they support the scrapping of the office. Others who say it should not be scrapped. In fact, it was the MPP that set up the Office of Special Prosecutor. Yet, that touched one or two of them. They began to unleash attack dogs on him and have been attacking him since day one. So it is not even clear what they want. They set up an office and have turned around demanding that office should be scrapped. The president thinks otherwise. Again, the issue of logistics and tools that MPs need to work with must be separated from the current issue at hand. In fact, there is no nexus in between the two issues. There is hardly any institution in Ghana that has all that it wants to do its work. So we members of parliament have challenges. I also have an office in parliament as an MP, where there are some challenges with some of the amenities that we are given to work with. But it does not mean that we should not do our work, or that when specific issues emerge, others cannot hold a contrary opinion. In fact, parliament is subject to public scrutiny. The people of Ghana can see that this particular action that parliament has taken is wrong, and that we disagree with it, and parliament should discontinue it or move away from it. And parliament can heed those calls. It doesn't mean that anybody has interfered with the work of parliament. So if the president of the land, another arm of government, believes that on this particular subject, this course of action may not be too helpful at this time, and he suggests him to members of the majority who belong to his party, and that request is heeded, and the action is aborted, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it does not in any way undermine the principles of separation of powers. In fact, the three arms of government are not supposed to be working against each other. They are supposed to be working with each other to ensure the development and progress of this country. And that, in my view, is what has transpired in this case of the OSP.
Thank you so much, Felix. Let me bring in right now Chairman Sabonso, his former majority leader. We appreciate your time here on the pause. We've just been hearing from the president to make this request, urging the members of parliament to withdraw this private members' bill seeking to abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The presidency says it is a request. I would like to get your brief reaction to this. Well, we're reconnecting our lines to get clear connection to Chairman Sabon. So if you just tune in this afternoon, the president has officially written requesting that the majority side of parliament withdraw that private members' bill that is seeking to abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And in fact, he is actually of the opinion that the Office of the Special Prosecutor should work to fulfill its mandate. And that statement we brought to you earlier. We've also been engaging Felix Kwakye Ofosu, who speaks on behalf of government. He clarifies that this is not a directive. Indeed, it is a request. Hence, members of parliament can decide to heed to the presidency or otherwise. It's something we're looking forward to. My colleague James Savage is also in parliament, just trying to get the majority side to respond to this. The key individual sponsoring this, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, as well as the whip, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor. We'll get reactions from them here on the pulse, but we're reconnecting the lines to speak to Chairman Sabonso, a former majority leader, just to get his thoughts on this, some concerns that have come up, the separations of power, and how this will undermine that. We've just been hearing from Felix clarify that indeed there is no directive to Parliament. It is just a request, really. And if you just tune in, that statement is coming up on your screens right now, just to let you know what exactly the president said. And this line is quite important, where he talks about what he expects of the office, but he is requesting that the majority leader, as well as the majority chief whip in Parliament, withdraw that private members' bill tabled for the repealing of that act that, you know, substantively establishes the Office of the Special Prosecutor. It goes on to state that the president's request follows his public expression of support for the strengthening of the OSP as a vital clock in the fight against corruption at a meeting with the Peace Council yesterday. So the president engaged the Peace Council, and during that meeting reiterated how vital that office is. Now, he also called on the special prosecutor himself to do more to boost public confidence in its work, especially because there are concerns really that that office is failing to deliver on its mandates. A lot of things have come up so far. Currently, we heard from Sami Darko tell us that there has been an assassination attempt on the life of the OSP, which the Interior Minister told us they are looking into to establish if indeed that occurred. But then the work of the OSP has been under scrutiny for a while now, with individuals wondering if indeed that office is delivering on its mandate, especially because we've not seen as much prosecution as we'd like to see under the administration of Kisi Jabin. Many have criticized him. This has come up on the floor of Parliament. This is the only time, really, we're seeing both the majority and the minority agree that indeed that office must be scrapped, that act that substantively establishes that office should be scrapped. So now that we're getting this request from the presidency, the big question on our minds this afternoon on the pulse is, will the majority heed the request of the presidency? That's a conversation we're having because my colleague James Aveji is in Parliament. He's doing his checks there, trying to get the individuals who are sponsoring this private member bill, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, as well as the chief whip, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, to get their direct response. But we are working our lines to reconnect, to speak to Osei Chairman Sabonsu, former majority leader, just as we touch on separation of powers. Is the executive interfering with the work of the legislature? It's a conversation we'd like to have, but Felix made it clear that this is a request, hence it may not be seen that way. I want to get the thoughts of the former majority leader. I'm hoping I have clear connection to him now. Then we can start the conversation. So, say, Chairman Sabonsu, I'd like to start with your reaction. I'll say, Chairman Sabonsu, I'm hoping you can hear me.
Hello.
Yes, please. I was just wondering, let me start with your initial thoughts about this president's request that indeed the sponsors of this private members bill should withdraw.
Well, we must recognize that the president is in the same party as the majority leader and the majority chief whip. And much as I agree that they may express opinion about any subject matter, if what I've heard is true, that he has written to them that they should withdraw, then it takes it to another level. That is, if he has indeed written to them, it takes it to another level. In any event, the majority leader is the leader of government business. And even though he's not a minister of state, he sits in cabinet in attendance. So he is with the president as the leader of government business in cabinet. And definitely, I believe the president will brought the attention of the president will brought to bear that this is what is intended to be done in Parliament. And so if the president agrees, maybe at that level, we could have had some conversation with his majority leader and leader of government business on this matter. But to wait until the matter comes to Parliament, is filed, the Speaker accepts it, and then he writes for them to withdraw it, is certainly not the best.
Well, this is a draft bill, though. It's a draft that we've seen, yes. So it hasn't officially been debated on and adopted by the Speaker, at least based on our checks, that is what we know. And so from where you sit, even at the draft level, is it okay for the presidency to make this request?
The point I'm making is that the president sits in cabinet with the majority leader, who is the leader of his government business department. And this bill establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor emanated from the Office of the President. Right? So if at that level the President had any indication about it, he ought to have engaged him privately so that maybe it wouldn't even appear there. Because after the bill is passed by Parliament, it will require the assent of the President. Let's not forget. So if the President has any issues, we could have, at the very outset, discussed it with him. I'm not unaware of the fact that since the beginning of his tenure, mainly high-profile personalities within government have spoken against the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I don't want to have to go back when we're even at the initial stage of passing the bill in Parliament. Many of the high-profile NDC people were against it. So if the President wants to cause his opposition, he's right to do so. But it's the process and procedure that we're talking about, that maybe he also have engaged them privately, rather than allow them to bring the bill to Parliament. The Speaker has established the bill drafting office in Parliament to assist private members. So that cannot be done on the blind side of it. The Speaker's attention will be drawn to it, and he will direct the office of the drafting to assist. That's what happened. So the Speaker is aware, much as the majority leader, who is the co-sponsoring the bill with the majority chief whip. So certainly not the best of developments. Let's see what to do.
Thank you so much. Osei Chairman Tabonsu is former majority leader. Just sharing his thoughts on this. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. But we know that civil society organizations, they've been kicking against the removal of that office. We'll hear from them shortly after this quick term. Please stay with us here on The Pulse. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, this afternoon, let's head now to Kpandai, because residents of Kpandai say they're eagerly waiting for the rerun of its parliamentary elections days after a Tamale High Court ruling. The Electoral Commission on Wednesday scheduled the rerun for December 30th, following a notification from Parliament declaring the seat vacant. Both the governing NDC and the opposition NPP in the constituency say they are ready for the elections, and we will be engaging the parties shortly. But first, let's hear from residents.
So about 20 able to abandon. And I may bomb by into an answer, Bibia, may show you on Queen, Bibia, I don't know, a draw, Bibia on to Abama, the power of Penal, because they are very Sabasa. Send the young advantage say that the talk I said. I say, Dimana, penny, it's a muye and my.
I try a 2 my MP, a barber, Banawa, Kpandai, Kpandai development. So, yes, from me a form of chalk. If they don't dry, and I am free name got to a ban. MP or wait market Kpandai development.
Kpandai is not going to be the first or the last rerun. Our constituency, and to say, fine, we are going to vote. And the Ameshrane so be obey and uncle to Naba in peace.
Because we know as the law from above, or when to make us say, young to mean to about it. And then he has to go of Bunka. Until Abana they will say to Obiana Buchanan, yes, Uncle to Utuma MP, Opa, that very no side Friday, what's a got Traman. Why Utuma and the C candidates who are now I then, no about Traman and Uncle Friday, after that's where.
Metonam we yesika. Omumwaye no ma dada ya che MPP ni edisifo. MPP ba first camera NDC ba mo first camera na yesi. Kane de ejuma.
And my colleague Martina Bugri joins us live from that constituency. Martina, what's the euphoria like in that constituency as we await that rerun on the 30th?
Faustina, I didn't get the question. If you can.
I'm wondering what the euphoria is like on the grounds. You've been engaging more residents. What are their expectations?
Yes, so it depends on who you speak to. People from the NDC believe that, they have enough days to campaign and then win this election. They believe that they won the election and they would win it hands down again. As we speak now, some party executives from the regional are in Kpandai now, campaigning already. And for the NPP, they are saying that they want to exhaust all the legal processes they have filed before they will take a decision to enter Kpandai. Earlier on, I spoke to the NDC candidate, and he says that he's on his way back to Tamale and then to head to Kpandai to start his campaign. And so for the NDC, they are already on the ground campaigning. Both region and constituency are campaigning now. But the MPP say they are waiting for the court processes. And whilst we speak, on the 18th of December, the High Court will be passing its judgment on the stay of execution that they had filed.
Thank you so much, Martina. Well, let me get the party reaction to this. Both the NDC and the NPP Joining me now via Zoom is Haruna Mohammed, is Deputy General Secretary for the NPP. I also have with me Rashid Tanko Computer. He is the newly appointed acting CEO of GFEC, but he is also the Deputy National Elections Director of the NDC and IT as well. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse. I'd like to start with Haruna Mohammed. With Ablekmo North, the party decided not to contest. Will you contest Kpandai seat?
We are in court and we will exhaust all the procedures. Everything has its own roots. We will not kowtow to intimidation. We will not kowtow to the distraction of our democratic process. Every student of law, including my brother Tanko Rashid Computer, will be confused with the procedures that is applicable in our judicial jurisprudence. All of us know how processes are served and how they are being done. If you run the history of our elections in terms of parliamentary reruns and by-elections, and when members are in parliament, the procedure that has been used is not the same procedure that is applied now. Sections of the Ghanaian country are very, very, very disappointed, and I don't know where our democracy is going to run to.
Haruna,
as we sit now,
I asked a direct question.
Democracy.
Will the NPP
I tell you,
contest the Kpandai seat? It's a direct question, isn't it?
I'm not obliged to answer your direct question.
Okay.
I am to tell you
so you will not contest? Will you contest?
I am telling you that we are in court.
That is well noted. We know you're in court. We know you're contesting this decision.
Until we exhaust our court procedures, we may not be able to tell you specifically what we have to do. So you've asked the question right, but we need to exhaust all the procedures that we have put in terms of the court processes and exhaust them before.
Clarify for me, because we've been hearing from Tanko Computer tell us that you are not in court. Which court are you in?
I didn't get your question.
Where did you file your suit at?
Where did we file our suit? Oh,
yes.
Kwakye, you want to tell me that you don't know where the MPP filed their suit? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Kwakye.
Tell me.
Multimedia? You don't know?
Tell me, Haruna, tell me.
Your reporters were.
Haruna, tell me.
Your reporters were in court yesterday.
Tell me. Just answer the question. Which court?
I am telling you, your reporters were in High Court.
Okay. Now,
I am telling you, your reporters were in High Court yesterday. They were in High Court with us yesterday. In Tamale, we've also filed a certiorari by way of judicial review at the Supreme Court. You have not seen that? You have not also seen that we have filed a notice of appeal at the appeals court? You don't know? Kwakye.
Okay. It's a good thing I have Tanko with me. Tanko, you said they were not in court yesterday. Tell me your defense to this then.
Look, Tanko was not in court. Only the original organizer came to court.
No, can I please speak to Tanko? Haruna, please hold on. Let me speak to Tanko. Tanko, your defense.
Let me say good afternoon to Alaji Haruna, the brother, and for Sit and all your cherished viewers. Let me tell you, we are contesting the Kpandai constituency. We are ready. We are battle ready. As your reporter rightly put it down, our teams are in the constituency. I was there last week myself. Yesterday, after they lost the case at the Tamale High Court, on that very day, they had two documents in their pockets when they came to court. One was for appeal, and then the other one was a notice of motion for stay of execution. That's what they were trying to do. You see, NPP, they are very smart. Smart in the sense that they know they had lost the case. So they wanted to assuage their people. So when they were coming to the court, they put it in their pocket, knowing that they were going to lose, and then they were filed. So they filed a notice. They gave them 17th November to come in, December, 17th December, to come and move the motion. But the mere fact that you have filed a notice of motion of stay of execution doesn't mean that there is already a stay of execution on it. That is not it. It doesn't operate like that. Until you move the motion, grant, then the stay cannot take action.
So you agree that on midday on Joy FM when you were engaging my colleague Pello for it, when you said that there was no case in court. You agree that there's a case in court now?
No, this is what telling you the notice. You have even filed a notice. Is that a case? It has not been moved. It's just you are putting nothing on in emptiness. Nothing has happened. It was yesterday they went to court to now move the motion. And when they moved the motion yesterday, we argue our case. Our lawyers were in court with them. And then the judge now gave 18th December to rule on their motion. So as we speak now, from now up to 18th, there is no process, nothing. It's not yet to be ruled. So nothing stopped the execution of the orders of the High Court. Nothing. Nothing is stopping it.
You appear to be shifting your position now, but let me bring in Haruna at this point. Haruna, I want a direct response. Will you contest this Kpandai seat?
But you won't get that direct response.
Why?
I am telling you that.
We want to know. We want to know because you've heard clearly from our reporters on the ground that already the NDC is campaigning. We're not seeing you on the ground. We want a direct response from you. We understand that you're in court. We understand that you are following the procedure. We want to know, will you contest the seat?
We are law-abiding citizens. There are several avenues for us to cure that misjudgment, one of which is to go to court. And let me correct my brother. And sorry, unfortunately, when I started, I did not reach him. Computer, answer it.
Okay, you people are greeting yourself with my airtime.
Yes, I'm greeting you in a local language. Yes, your airtime is for us because this is where we are at the moment.
Answer my question. Let's make progress.
I want to make some correction to my brother. We filed a notice of appeal at the appeals court. We filed a motion for stay of execution. It was not a notice of stay of execution. It was a motion. And again, once a motion is moved in court and a ruling date is set, you cannot say nothing is happening in court. It means that the judge has to take a time to write his ruling. So there is a matter in court, there is a pendency of a matter in court. And once the service has been done and your lawyers were there, and I'm very surprised that you say that there was not a matter in court. On 1st of December, there was a change of date from 17 to 10. And this matter is well known. And you are saying that there was no court proceedings. Unfortunately, my brother will have to admit on this particular point that he erred. And again, look, if there is precedence in this country, Deputy Kwesi, you are Deputy Director, IT, and elections. The process went through and Deputy Kwesi was sitting in Parliament.
Haruna, will you contest the seat? Will the NPP contest the seat? We know you're in court. But the EC has given an official date for the rerun, which is on the 30th of this very month. Will you contest the Kpandai seat?
EC is not a chamber to declare our position.
It's a very simple question, Haruna. It's a yes or no question. I believe you can answer this directly. Will the NPP contest the seat?
Please, the remedies in this particular instance relies in the court. We're taking the court process. And I'm telling you that until we exhaust the court process and now come back to look, and we are telling you that we are very confident because the NDC is not confident in the court case. They are using their state capture, using state institutions, and luring them into this particular act, which has never happened in this country before. It is very unfortunate. But they are forgetting that when the table turns and we are removing them like that from Parliament, they will want to stand on the rooftop and talk to the people of Ghana. The media to speak, the civil society to speak, the clergy to come out and speak, the silent National Peace Council to come out and speak.
Come and speak, you say. Now we want you to speak. We want you to be direct with us. Will you contest the seat? It's a simple question. Why are you avoiding that question, Haruna?
You are rather avoiding the answer. Why are you not asking the questions of why there are pendency of cases in court which require them to stay execution? And what my brother ought to know is that even the judgment that is going to be given on 18th will require a mandatory 7 days of stay of execution. The judgment, per the Appeals Court Rules 1997, CI 19, will require a 7-day mandatory stay of execution after the judgment. What are we doing to our law?
Haruna, the people of Kpandai, they are watching, and they just want to know, when they go to the polls on the 30th, should they vote for the NPP? Will you be contesting the seat? It's a simple question. I believe the people of Kpandai deserves an answer.
They may end up by not going to the polls on 30th because we are in court.
Okay. Tanko, you're already on the ground. You are doing massive campaigns. What are your expectations, knowing fully well that based on the initial results from the Electoral Commission, you lost the seat by some 3,000 votes? How do you hope to regain those votes?
You see, NPP doesn't have any 3,000 votes. These were votes that we contested in court, that the collation was not properly done. Fake figures were being used to collate the results. And based on that, our lists were upheld by the High Court. So as we speak now, NPP cannot pride themselves with any votes. They don't have it. The High Court nullified those votes. They don't have any because the High Court agreed that they were fake votes. Because you can't have a polling station that will give you a vote of 1,400. My brother is a very known election officer. He knows that there are polling stations ended at 750 voters. And so if you get a polling station that goes up to 1,000 plus, that tells you that's a fake vote, fake ones. So they don't have it. So for us, we are going on clean slate, and we know that we are going to, in any case, the question you are asking my brother, he won't answer it. You remember they said there were no contesting Ablikmanov. You remember that one? But last minute, less than 24 hours to the elections, their candidate came out with other groups and said they were defying the orders of the national executive and went ahead to contest the Ablikmanov. They were there, and the election day, their national officers, senior officers of the party, were all over the place, creating confusion in the constituency on the voting day. Ablikmanov. So if today you are asking my brother whether they will continue, they won't give you the answer. This morning, their constituency chairman, he's known as Jato Kpandai, MPP constituency chairman, came up boldly and said they are contesting, that they are also doing campaign. They won't follow the court because it appears they are not getting anything from the court. So they have to campaign this morning. So these people you are asking, they won't give you proper answer. They will dodge these things. They will continue to be telling you this. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they are doing campaign. There are people out there doing campaign. You see, so for us, we are prepared for the elections. I know that nothing is going to come out. In any case, the 18th one, it is not an appeal on the decision of the 24th November ruling. The 18th one is a motion that moved for stay of execution. Okay, that is what it's going to do. So it doesn't come with my brother that when it comes and it's positive, automatic, that means that yes, if it's granted to you, the motion that you have moved is granted, it means yes, everybody will stay until an appeal process complete. But if it is dismissed, of course, you have not. I don't even see why they should be entertaining that motion. Because what are they staying for? What are they staying?
You've been doing your campaigns on the ground. You've been engaging residents. What is the kind of feedback they've been giving you?
Oh, very, very positive. They are ready to vote for the ND candidate. The reason being that, look, the ones who bring development, the government of the NDC is actually delivering the goods to the good people of Ghana. And they want to join that reset agenda. Like how the Akotia people did. The Akotia people got an opportunity in order to get development in their area quickly. So they had to go in for an NDC candidate. So will the Kpandai people also say. They were pointing at the report I have when I went there. They were pointing to us that, look, what the people of Akotia did, we are going to even double it for you people. We need you. We need the NDC. The good work of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, everybody is seeing it in Ghana. So they also want to be part. Of what use will they go and vote Nyindam? What is it going to bring? Opposition.
Let me bring in Haruna Mohammed.
To organize themselves.
At this point in time. Haruna, I'm sure you've been engaging leadership in the Kpandai constituency, especially the constituency chairman of the party. What feedback has he been giving you about the feedback he has been receiving from people on the ground?
I want to correct this. Our constituency chairman name is not called Jato. It's called Kennedy. So maybe he has spoken to an NDC Jato. Our constituency chairman name is Kennedy. And for the last time, Kennedy has not spoken on any platform to indicate. So if he says Jato, he knows that it's completely different from the MPP chairman, whose name is called Kennedy. Myself, the General Secretary, on Monday, we engaged the good people of Kpandai, all the executives, we engaged them. We briefed them on all the proceedings and what have you. But as you know, the MPP is a law-abiding party. We have gone to court, and we are going to follow through all the processes that we have put through. And we are very confident that at the end of the day, the rule of law will prevail.
But time is not on your hands, is it? Time is not on your hands, is it?
My brother,
you have the EC says the election will hold on the 30th of this month.
The EC has given dates and pulled those dates back before. So it's not going to be very surprising. The EC is acting on a court order because the clerk has written to them. If there is another court order, all of them will go back to sleep so that everything will get to settle.
And you are confident that the court will rule in your favor?
I am telling you that we did not send any bad case to court. On the 16th of December, we will be at the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will also be looking at the judicial review, even before the 18th of December. So we are very grounded in the case of law to ensure that all the legal processes are exhausted. I hear my brother talking about development. For good 1 year, myself and him, we are from here. Bimbilla has not seen even a single development under the NDC. You can't point to one single development. The only development the people of the North got from the NDC is the appointment of the MMDCs. They haven't gotten anything. Tamale, they have gotten nothing. Zabzugu, nothing. None of them has initiated any project. All the road infrastructure that is currently going on in the northern part of Ghana, including the constituencies in northern region specific, are all projects of the MPP. And he knows it. The projects and then the network that he goes around and open and what have you are all projects of the MPP. So 1 year on, 4 years you have been given, not even a single project did you do for the good people of the northern region. And you are talking about development.
How you realize that campaigning should be done on the grounds? Because the people of Kpandai will be the ones to vote on that day. And yet they do not know if the MPP is going to contest.
You see, campaigning is not about quantity, it's about quality. So it's the quality of campaign, not the quantity of campaign. So we are very focused, we are very minded, and we are going to follow through the legal process. And at the end of the legal process, a determination will inform the decision of the party.
Thank you, Haruna Mohammed. He's Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Let me wrap up with Tanko Computer briefly. You wanted to say something, Tanko?
Yes, you know what? This morning, I had an interview with the constituency chairman of MPP in Kpandai, called Jat, to check the portal of Onua TV today. They've even reported the interview we granted them this morning. And the gentleman is alive. His picture is even there. They put his picture there. He should come and deny it. That is MPP for you. So clearly, we are ready for the election. We are prepared for it. We know we are going to win hands down. The MPP is losing the election. You see, they won't answer whether they are contesting or not. We are advising them. If they want, they should chicken out like how they left the Tamale Central by-election. Because the defeat they will get in Kpandai, only God knows. We will hand them some heavy defeat because our arsenals are ready for the elections. Our preparation is top-notch. Our strategy is down to earth. And I can assure you, we will emerge victorious. And the good people of Kpandai will have the best of New Year package. Best of New Year package. Because the NDC is going to give them.
I wrapped up with you, but you may want to respond to that. Are you checking out of this contest as the NPP? Will you chicken out of this contest?
You know, we are not a creation of illegality, so we will not perpetrate ourselves in an illegality. We are not formed in a constitutional era that was.
Haruna, you have specialized in not answering my question. It's a simple question. So will you chicken out of the election as a political party? Should we expect to see you on the ground?
We are not used to perpetrating illegality. So if something that we are fighting on law, why are we? If we are ready to do whatever question you are asking, we will make a release on that. We will make a pronouncement on that. The Tamale Central he mentioned, nobody forced us. We We made our point very clear.
So we should expect that you would also withdraw from this race?
I cannot tell you. We are going to court, and the court processes, the remedies in the court will inform our decision. And that is what we are saying. So once we are not a party that has been formed through an illegal process, we will not be mixing ourselves with an illegality, because we all know a 7 security officer forming a party, which was not something that was grounded in law. And even the current president told us that when it comes to violence, they are the paramount chiefs of violence. So we all know what they perpetrate, what they do. We know their class. We know their stock in trade. So for us, we are not going to join them because we will not be in their level.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time here on The Pulse. Haruna Mohammed and Rashid Tanko Computer. Well, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the Electoral Commission and their decision to reschedule or schedule that rerun of the Kpandai parliamentary election undermines Ghana's democratic institutions and ignores ongoing legal processes involving the new patriotic parties. Matthew Yindam.
At least, very, very disappointed in what is going on in our country. It looks like our institutions of democracy and our tenets of democracy are being undermined. The issue of Kpandai with Matthew Yindam is not a new issue in our democratic politics. You've had issues with Dana Bodakpi, you've had issues with Techi Kwesison, in Asin, and basically you've had the House allow the court and the legal processes to take place and be exhausted before state institutions are stampeded into acting in ways that undermine democracy. Matthew Yindam should be given his day in court. He has filed appeal processes at the High Court. He has filed for a judicial review at the Supreme Court, and none of those cases has been adjudicated. So why the rush? Why the indecent haste? I think that he's being railroaded. I think that this undermines our institutions of democracy. I think that we should take a halt to these processes and allow him to have his day in court, just as others have done in the past. The House has never really rushed in this way when it came to the other cases. What is the difference with the case of Matthew Yindam? I think it should not be this case. I think we should uphold the tenets of democracy. Democracy is something precious that we've all had and we've all subscribed to. When you start undermining its pillars, you break it down, and the consequences for the nation are very severe. And so simply because you have power, you shouldn't feel that you can ride roughshod over your opponents and over the principles of democracy. And so I stand with the principles that are being espoused by the minority in Parliament, and they're doing a good job at it. And we want to support all the principles that they are fighting over in this particular case.
Away from Kpandai, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Kpandai, has disclosed that some government appointees are allegedly recruiting MPP sympathizers instead of prioritizing NDC foot soldiers. This comes at a time when the ruling party is already under pressure to create job opportunities for its teeming supporters nationwide. In an interview with Evans Mensah on PM Express, Mr. Kpandai revealed that certain government appointees are quietly offering positions to MPP sympathizers, an issue the party has formally reported to the president for appropriate action.
They are now interested in jobs. They are now, angry with appointees who are still employing and promoting MPP people. And that is what I'm busy discussing and trying to deal with.
Are there appointees who are appointing MPP people?
Yes, some appointees are not living by the president's expectation.
They are John Mahama appointees who are appointing MPP people?
That is what the grassroots perceive, and that is what I'm just telling you.
But how is that even possible?
Well, so that is the unthinkable thing that some of them believe, and we must interrogate it and come to terms.
They believe. Have you verified?
I receive complaints every day about some appointees.
They are appointing MPP people?
Yes. There are ministers who have left their ministries in the hands of chief directors to do that.
But that's
Evans, when we won the election, okay, there was a ministry in particular that they intentionally used the minister's Land Cruiser to hit something, and they scrapped it and stole Land Cruisers. It took drivers to tell us what the chief directors have made. It is not only politicians who are fleecing this country. Chief directors are part.
No, so when you say employing MP, you mean the chief directors are not, they are career civil servants.
When you are a career person and you depart from the dictates of the career, you are as worse as somebody who is against Ghana's interests.
Have these ministers been told? Have you confronted them?
We've mentioned to some appointees, some won't listen, so we have left that for the president.
The president has been informed of this?
Of course, I've had the occasion to inform the president about some appointees.
And he says what to you?
He's our father. We will leave that to him.
Well, President Mahama has decried the rising number of ethnic land and chieftaincy disputes across the country, describing them as a major headache for the government. Speaking during a courtesy visit by the National Peace Council, he said the conflicts are exerting significant pressure on the security agencies who have been deployed to maintain peace in various hotspots. He stressed the need to adequately resource the National Peace Council to help address some of these disputes.
All of us are concerned about the proliferation of conflicts across our country. There's a rising intolerance, you find, and it's resulting as a result of disagreements, first and foremost to do with chieftaincy. It is putting a lot of pressure on our security services. A lot of our security services are tied down in conflict areas. I mean, Sampa, we have a whole contingent there. You go to Nkwanta, we have a whole contingent there. You go to Boko, we have a whole contingent there. Recently, Savannah, we had a whole contingent there. We've not withdrawn them yet. And yet there are so many of these, all over the country. It have to do with ethnic disputes, have to do with land disputes. And it's become a major headache for government. And so that's why we need to resource the Peace Council, to be able to carry out its mandate.
Well, join me now on Zoom is a security consultant, Professor Kwesi. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Quite worrying, we're just hearing from the Peace Council engagement with the President that there are about 449 hotspots across the country. And this is shocking. How did we get here?
No, because we are hypocritical. We don't tell ourselves the truth. We want to, like the ostrich, hide beneath the table. The 449 by 1st January, it will be considerably higher than that because we are looking at things wrongly. And that's number one. Number two, I like the President's point about adequately resourcing the National Peace Council. But I have a suggestion to make. To make the Peace Council independent of undue influence and interference, we've got to put the Peace Council as a specific budgetary item on the national budget that gives them the space and the leeway to make the tough decisions and to call out those who are conflict profiteers. Thirdly, I think it's important that Ghana has changed dramatically since the Peace Council was established, and to look at the Peace Council Act and to broaden the membership of the council. Right now, it is very religious members heavy. We need to broaden that to bring in more women, more youth, so that it is reflective of the country that they are seeking to build peace. Finally, is that the Peace Council is one of the soft instruments of Ghana's power. Everyone is looking up to the Peace Council, learning from it, and the Peace Council as a part of our infrastructure for peace is really doing a great job, but it can do much better.
Many have criticized the Peace Council that they failed to do their job of mediating the impasse, especially in Boku, where the president had to invite the Asantehene to do the mediation. So then the argument arises, why resource them if they are failing to do their basic mandates?
No, I think it's always very easy for armchair analysts who have not been to the conflict area to be very dismissive of the effort that are being done. I mean, if we take the struggles in Boko particularly, and the nature of the conflict, its intractability, the Peace Council has a limit to what it can do. When we mediate and when we negotiate with warring parties, we do so in the belief that we can bring them around the table and then lay out the rules that should govern the subsequent conversations. The Peace Council is best in identifying some of the root causes, bringing it to a multi-stakeholder group, and then getting them to bring their expertise onto the table. It's not every conflict that the Peace Council can resolve. Let me make this point, and I think I've made this point here before. Peace is not a common good. So you mentioned the Asante-Hene's mediation report, and I think you'll be presenting the report to His Excellency the President on Tuesday. When that report is presented, that is when the hard work of moving to a yes, a win-win situation begins. And there, the Peace Council can play a very important role, building trust, building confidence in the processes, talking to all parties, identifying those who would want to undermine the process, and working on those individuals. So the Peace Council has a role to play, and they will be playing that role in Boko next year.
Some also suggest why not focus that resources on resourcing the security agencies themselves who are on the ground. You've been around for a long time. You know the challenges they face on the ground. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think people are conflating too many things. The budget for the Peace Council that I am asking for should be in the national budget. Cannot buy one helicopter. It cannot buy an armored tank. It cannot buy an armored personnel carrier. It cannot probably even buy 1,000 or 2,000 AK-47s. The kind of resources that we are looking for the Peace Council at the national level, at the regional level, at the metropolitan, municipal, and district levels are just a couple of millions of dollars annually. That will allow them to put the appropriate number of people with the requisite skills, but also give them the independence and the space to do the work that they are supposed to do to the best of their ability. The statutory security forces have all the needs. We know what they are being resourced, but the statutory security forces also need supporting infrastructures to help them. You know, like the Fusion Center and all the other institutions that we have in this state. They all have a role to play. And it is when they come together in a holistic, integrated, interdependent, and collaborative manner that we can achieve the peace that we are all, aspiring to.
And finally, just before I let you go, you predict that the number of hotspots may rise even before this year ends. How do you propose we deal with that to ensure that we do not see increased numbers?
The resolution part is not my strongest point. But, violence has become profitable in Ghana. We've got to make sure that those who profit from violence, from discipline, from the sale of guns are punished. And when they are punished, it should be publicized to serve as a deterrent. Now, there's no compliance in this country. Look, we can resource the statutory security forces as much as possible, give the stakeholders in the infrastructures for peace and the Peace Council all the money. But if we cannot use the law to deter, to punish, and to ensure that people comply, then we are just wasting our time. So we will see some increase. This is not to say that people should not enjoy their Christmas, but do enjoy your Christmas, but be careful.
Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. We appreciate your company. Well, away from that, civil society organizations are kicking against what they describe as privatization of Ghana's mining lithium mineral. The position was strongly articulated during the stakeholder engagement with the Lands Committee of Parliament. The meeting comes on the back of the Lands Ministry withdrawal of that Ewoya lithium agreement from Parliament on concerns that over the current 5% royalties rate, which many describe as inadequate. The Institute of Economic Affairs, IA, for instance, have pushed for a total public ownership of the lithium deal, warning that the country may lose about $172 billion to foreign entities if this is not achieved. Dr. Charles Mensah is founder and chairman of IA.
Our estimation of this lithium is $172 billion. That's the total, the value of what is. If you take the quantum that has been described by the lithium company, by the Australian company, they're saying they're finding a quantum of 1.
We'd like to apologize for that interrupted sound, but President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, has also kicked against the award of more lithium concession to the private entities.
Some of the numbers of the company, in this particular case, what's the company's name again? Atlantic, right. We found out that even as we speak, their outreach price is about $1,587, right? Lithium is playing around $1,200 right now, and we understand. But they did that because they knew that the value of lithium could rise and fall. But they used the base rate as in their cost. Their cost was rated at about $610. So it tells you that as we speak, even if they started mining, clearly they're going to make about 45% margin even before. I mean that's revenue, right? Before the profits are taken away. And at the time we were willing to sign this deal with them, in fact, the margins was just about 20% because the lithium price was $800. Now it's gone up to about $1,002. So you ask yourself, I mean, on what basis are we saying that you need further concessions? Because I think this compensation, they're still going to push. They are business people, and you can't fault them at all. They still push and say we want maximum concessions. If every business in this country had 45% margin profit and was still giving they were giving concessions, this country will collapse.
Meanwhile, Senior Research Associate at Imani, Dennis Asare, has called for what he describes as a sliding scale rate for the Ewoya lithium deal with a minimum 10% royalty rate, so accrue more benefits for the country and as well as community members.
Should prices go as low as 800, we believe that at a royalty rate of 10%, the net margin is 110, and that if we charge a royalty rate of 5%, it then reduces how much the country can get. And at a royalty rate of 10%, we could be making around $80 per ton. But the company's net margin is going to be around $110. But if we charge 5%, then it gives us $40 per ton. Then the net margin of the company then becomes the $150 per ton. Now, if you come to the current price, that's the recovery, and we call it recovery because at the spot level, this is the price between 1,000 to 1,002.
Away from that, the Director of Public Health at the Ghana National Health Service, Dr. Franklin Kwakye, has announced that the Health Ministry plans to introduce artificial intelligence nationwide to enhance public health care. According to him, given the critical role of AI, the health service already has guidelines in place as AI can help speed up healthcare delivery. Edna Garima's report read to you.
According to the National Library of Medicine on epidemiological transition and the double burden of disease, Ghana's healthcare delivery and surveillance is hindered by fragmented and inconsistent data. During COVID-19, tools like SORMAS improved real-time reporting, but differences across platforms caused gaps and duplication. Despite expanded testing and better diagnostics, limited laboratory capacity and underreporting remain challenges. At the Ghana Field Epidemiology and Laboratory Training Program's GFLET 8th Scientific Conference, Director of Public Health, Dr. Franklin Esiedubekwe, noted that the Ghana Health Service already has guidelines on artificial intelligence and outlined the Health Ministry's plan for a nationwide implementation.
The ministry is also trying to have a nationwide AI policy to improve on public health in general.
Dr. Esiedubekwe also reiterated the urgent need to incorporate artificial intelligence to improve public health care.
Around the world, artificial intelligence or AI is reshaping how we gather, analyze, and interpret data for timely public health action. In Ghana and across the African continent, AI offers new possibilities for improving disease surveillance, enhancing laboratory diagnostics, and supporting faster evidence-based outbreak responses.
The Ghana Field Epidemiology and Laboratory Training Program awards certificates to graduates who complete the program every year. This year, the program graduated the 8th cohort. For Joy News, Edna Garima and Osborne Fenuku's report read to you.
Well, away from that, Kumasi is bracing up for what many predict will be one of the largest emotional gatherings in the city's history, as thousands prepare to bid farewell to the high-life icon himself, Charles Kojo Ofosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. The anticipation is so intense that the fans of the musician say it will be a festival of grief and celebration, pledging their full participation in honor of the man whose music became the soundtrack of their lives. Here's a report by my colleague Clinton Hibwa.
The streets of Kumasi have already begun filling with emotions and billboards as music lovers reminisce Lumba's lyrical influence, his uplifting melodies, and the deeply personal stories embedded in his songs. Fans say his music shaped their youth, healed their heartbreaks, inspired them through difficult moments, and provided soundtracks for their victories. Many have announced plans to storm the Kumasi Sports Stadium dressed in traditional funeral clothes, breezy and kobini, to show their final respect and affection.
Girls Lumba. I love him. Look at how we mourned him during the 1 week observation of his death. I am rocking live to the funeral in full force. We will turn the place upside down.
I've been listening to Lumba since I was a child. His lyrics in the Miyaka Kwentum song is something I identify with. That is why I love him. But amid the enthusiasm, some fans remain unsettled by recent disagreements among factions of the family that resulted in a legal battle. They are calling for calm and unity to preserve the dignity of the funeral celebration.
One funeral, and there's so many issues. I doubt it may even come on Saturday, but if it does, I will be there.
The musician's funeral is slated on Saturday, 13th December 2025. The late musician's father has reinforced the approval, insisting that the burial will take place regardless of any differing opinions. In the video shared on Instagram, Kwakye Ofosu, the family head of the music icon Daddy Lumba, claimed that the Menhye Palace has given him the go-ahead to hold the musician's final funeral ceremony on the slated day.
Ayo, anope ko Menhye de. We were
not able to meet Otumfuo, but we received confirmation and a go-ahead from elders who attended to us at the Menhye Palace. Meanwhile, with the expected record-breaking crowds, the Ashanti Regional Police Command and the family are yet to release a detailed security plan and administrative measures to manage the massive turnout. For Joy News, this is Clinton Yeboah.
And on that note, that's how we wrap up the polls. But please, for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Some top stories there: withdrawal of anti-OSP bill. President Mahama tells majority leadership withdraw there. And there's also the first deputy majority whip slamming Mahama over request to withdraw the private members bill against the OSP. Now, you can just go on myjoyonline.com, have a great read there. My name is Faustina Safo. I appreciate your company. Please have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.